Hi everyone, we are focusing on dictionary words and lots of you call them vocabulary words. Either way, they're the same things and these are words that are confusables, but I also felt they were words that I want my boys to understand and know and use them properly in a sentence. Now the word patience and patience and patient, this is crazy confusing. Patience and patience and patient. What does that mean? How do I use it? Okay, so now these right here, these are called homophones. And then these, without the plural S, they will be called homonyms. Now let's look at the first word, patience. This patience, look at the spelling. P-A-T-I-E-N-C-E. Say it. P-A-T-I-E-N-C-E. Now, that spelling is not getting angry easily. Now, if you see it spelled like that also, if you're British or trying to understand some British things, it's also considered a card game with the British. Now, this patience, let's spell it. P-A-T-I-E-N-T-S. Spell it again. P-A-T-I-E-N-T-S. Now, this says patience. It's the exact same sound. Patience, patience. This is plural. And then you take the plural S off and you get patient. So that confuses people. So if you see an S like that, it means it's plural, and that means someone or something that will or did receive medical treatment. This right here is a noun. If you take the plural S, if you're using it as this definition, it's a noun. But that's where people get so confused because it gets confused with this patient and this patient and this patient, which this patient means calmly handling delays easily, right? It's a verb. You are a patient person, okay? That's how you would do that. And how you could say this one, she has a lot of patience, but then you're using it as a noun. Now these right here, they can be nouns and they can be verbs. Right here, this on the other hand is a noun. If you spell it with the plural S right here, it's a noun, okay? That's why it's so confusing, but this patience can bounce. It can be an adjective, a noun, a verb, just it depends on how you're writing it in a sentence. So look, patient means receiving action from another. This patient, waiting certainly and formally for a verdict. That means you are presenting yourself properly in an appropriate manner. Patience. This patience is not yelling, not shouting, not being loud, not having an exaggerated action. Oh my gosh. That's patience. And that's the same definition as patient. These are all the same definitions right here. Okay?
Different meanings.
Well, I'm just breaking it apart. They mean that. Patience. Look, this patience, British one-person card game, and we call it solitaire. But the British call it patience, which is kind of interesting because you're being patient, trying to figure out the game, and hopefully you'll win. But we call it solitaire. But patience plus patient, patience and patient, they are a dynamic virtue. It's because you're handling annoyance well. If you say have patience, you know it's a verb. And you can use patience as a noun. So what I want you to do is I want you to set a goal to use this word correctly in a sentence. What does this patient mean?
Like
patience.
A person that...
It means more than one person who received medical treatment. If you see it with the plural S, more than one person that received medical treatment. But this patient is not. It's a virtue. This patient is a virtue. This patient is a virtue. This patient is a virtue. Virtue. Okay? This patient is a virtue, not this part. But this patient is someone who receives medical treatment. Someone or something. It can be an animal. They can receive medical treatment. Our pets receive medical treatments all the time, right? Now, homophone means, homo means what? Same, right?
Yeah.
And phone
Same
means?
or different meanings.
Homo means same. Same what? Same sound.
Well, same sound, different meanings.
Nice. Homo means same. And phone means what? Do you guys remember?
Distant.
Sound.
Sound. Same sound.
So look, these are spelled different. They have different meanings, but they sound exactly the same. That means they're a homophone. This piece, P-I-E-C-E, P-I-E-C-E, it means it's an extended specialism to someone. This is an archaic definition right here. It's very old.
What about a piece of pie?
But a piece of pie, Daniel, is a single object that belongs to something. So the piece of pie becomes, it's a single object that becomes to that pie, right? A piece of puzzle, a puzzle piece. So a piece of the rock, whatever, a piece of the diamond.
A piece of pizza.
A piece of pizza. That would be a piece right here. Now right here, joining this piece right here, this kind of piece, P-I-E-C-E, is joining, enlarging, and it's a thing. So if you think about joining, let's think about a patchwork quilt. And all of the little pieces, you're joining them together. And then what are we doing as we're joining them together? It's getting larger, and it's a thing. These pieces are things, like a piece of pizza. That's a thing, right? And those are nouns right here. And depending on how you use it in a sentence, this could be something else, this piece, for this definition, but these are nouns most of the time. So this piece, say it, P-E-A-C-E, spell that, P-E-A-C-E. This kind of piece means be quiet. This piece is an archaic word. Peace be still. Where does that come from? Who says that? Jesus said that. Peace be still when the water was...
He calmed the ocean.
Nice, calm. Exactly, he calmed the sea. That is found in Mark chapter 4, verse 39. Treaty, what does a treaty mean? A treaty.
An agreement between one another.
Yeah, this is an agreement that you are not going to fight anymore. So we have peace treaties, right? We have peace treaties, and that means that you are no longer going to fight. Peace means no fighting. You're in accordance with each other. So make sure that you understand the difference between the two and that you study the spelling on those. You use this in our language all of the time. Both of those words are often used words. Now here is another word that can get confusing. A surgeon. A surgeon performs surgeries. Surgeons work with their hands, and look what they do. They work with their hands to cut open the body. But a surgeon is also a physician, and physicians work on the body. And physic is a Greek word. It means natural or nature. It means nature. And look, surgeon is it specializes in a physician. So surgeon is just a specialty off of physician. Subcategory of physicians. What does subcategory mean? Daniel, exactly.
Under or below.
The sub tells us right off the bat that this is going to be under and below. So surgeon falls below the category of physicians. So physicians can be lots of different things. And surgeon falls under a physician. And a physician works on the body. So a subcategory of physicians, what do? They read again and again about the body. You don't want anybody cutting into you that hasn't studied it over and over and over again about the body. Do you want anybody cutting into your body that hasn't studied it? Mm-mm. I wouldn't. Okay, so now a physician is it's an extended word. It's just like covers so many things. And then you have subcategories, is specialized. So physicians, they are health doctors that work in medicine, like a family doctor. If they just say, I'm a physician, then you need to figure out what they are, either if they're specializing in something, but oftentimes you're going to see them as family doctors. Now, what's the definition of medicine? Is that herbs?
Healthy drugs.
No, not drugs that can help people, but then sometimes we abuse them, right? Mm-hmm. But Paul, I like how you're saying healthy drugs. So a definition of medicine, it's drugs. Now, if you see pharmacy, you know it's all about drugs. Pharmacy has nothing to do with herbs. It's about drugs that we're safely monitoring, okay? So that's what the pharmacy does. That means we are doing this safely. When you see pharmacy, is that herbs? It is not herbs. At least not in America. This is drugs. I do know that in other countries, they have herbs that you can find in the herbal section of a pharmacy. But that means drugs. When you see pharmacy, you know that we are supposed to safely monitor them. What does that mean to you?
Look at them carefully.
Yeah, does it mean that we can just go buy them? Mm-mm. No, a doctor. Look, a health physician that works in medicine gives you a prescription and then you use it. And they tell you how to use it, why to use it, where to use it.
And when to use it.
And when to use it, exactly. So that's why it's so important that you're understanding the pharmacy side. So I know somebody that actually took 5 Advil thinking they were herbs because you take a lot of herbs. You don't do that. You don't take the obvious. This means it's crystal clear. Obvious is crystal clear. It's evident. It's beyond a doubt. It's beyond a doubt. It is apparent that you know what they're talking about. It's in your face. You're agreeing with the question. It is so obvious that you know the answer. But we can also use obvious. Obvious can be critical. You can use it to be rude and not nice. And so you can, when you are doing that, think about how you're using your words. You don't want people to say, well, that's obvious. So don't say unnecessary statements that cause critical actions of other people. Be subtle. When you are not subtle, that causes this critical action of using it. Obvious can be used in such a critical way. So think about how you speak. Are you going to speak in a way that's unnecessary? So think about how you're speaking, you guys. Think about how you talk, and is this going to cause an obvious reaction of other people that causes them to be critical and treat you improperly? Okay, so now we're going to use these words. Upcoming, understand, plain, he doesn't, his, meaningful, survive, direction. So these words, I want you to use them in an obvious, clear, evident, beyond a doubt, apparent, in your face. We're going to do it in a positive. We're not going to use it in a critical action.
Our upcoming trip is obviously cool.
Yeah. So our upcoming trip is obviously going to be exciting or something like that. Yeah.
Our upcoming trip is going to take a plane ticket. It's obviously going to take a plane ticket.
I love that. That's perfect. Our upcoming trip obviously needs a plane ticket. Very good. Nice. Okay, let's use understand in a positive way, not where we're being critical and mean.
Obviously, you understand.
That sounds nice. Obviously, you understand. Obviously, the plane is covered in grass. Okay, he doesn't. Okay, obviously, he doesn't care. Obviously saying it's obvious he doesn't care, but you're not using it and being super mean about it. Survive.
But obviously, we have to survive.
Okay, obviously we have to eat to survive.
That's what I was going to say.
Obviously, we have to eat to survive.
Surviving is obviously hard.
Okay, surviving is obviously hard, especially if you don't have the money to survive, right? How about direction? It's obviously hard to find your direction in the mountains. Don't give other people an opportunity to pick on you or be mean by being stupid, by saying unnecessary statements that make you look either mouthy or just to be heard. Just keep your mouth shut if you don't need to say anything. Be subtle and keep people from being critical in your lives. If you do these things, it will reduce stress in your life. Did you know that? If you did that, it would reduce stress because people don't have an obvious way to want to pick on you. Okay, now we have the word dimple.
When you smile and there's a hole in your...
Yeah, that is one dimple, but I want you to know that there's more than one meaning of a dimple. It's a swirl, it's a point in the water. It's a depression, like an indentation pressed into something. So you can have a dimple in a piece of metal or whatever. It's just an indentation. But you know how you throw a rock and you hit the water? And you see that swirl in the water and that dimple right in the middle? That is what a dimple is. Now, if we look back into its origin, it's Middle English. It comes from the German language, which means pond or pit. And it's called dumpela. Dumpela. And that helps you. But if you can have fun studying the origin of words, and we all don't have tons of time to just study tons of the origin of words, but if you're not understanding the full definition of a word, go to the origin of the word. It's going to help your understanding better because you're going to say, oh, well, that means a pond or a pit. So you're going to see, oh, well, that would be in water, or it's a depression into the ground. And you're going to be able to spell things better because you're understanding what the origin is. So dimple, also what Paul said, cheeks in humans. It's in their skin. There's dimples. And it doesn't have to just be in the cheeks. You can see it in other places, but most of the time, I don't have dimples, but most of the time, people that have dimples will have it like right here in their skin. It's just an indentation. That's all it is. But don't just think it's one thing. Because really, when you go and look at the Middle English part of it, it's closer to this definition than what happened later on in our language, where our language changed a little bit. Now, let's look at the word potential. I want you guys to think about how important the word potential is. Okay, it's about changing your thoughts for you have the ability to succeed. That's your potential. I think both of you have amazing potential. But you have to change your thoughts. And just because you have potential, does it mean you're going to fail? Yeah, probably. Just because you have potential doesn't mean you won't fail at something, but you just get right back up on the bike and you try it again over and over and again. So potential means you have a possible chance of getting something right. There's a possibility. It's expected, you're expected to become something when you have potential, right? But potential means not presently showing. You have potential, but maybe you're not great at riding your bike right now, but you have potential. And potential means it could likely happen. if you work at it. It could likely happen if you work at that, right? Here's another word that we hardly ever use, and I really want you guys to understand this. And I want you to be using it. Wantonly, and I don't want you to misunderstand what it is or skip over it in your reading. What does it mean? It means an extreme, zero care, means you're being tactless, and ungallant. Now, wantonly is not a compound word. It looks like wanton, and you can use word wanton, but I put it as an ly, adverb, but it's not want and on and put together. It looks like one, but it's not. It's its very own word, wantonly. Wanton is its very own word. This, I live in the foothills, is a compound word where you can actually see both of them coming together and making one word. This one you can't. This definition, you cannot see how it can put those together and make one thing. Like baseball, base and a ball, you're talking about a game and you're putting it together and then you're understanding it as one thing, but they go together. This one has its very own definition. Remember, wantonly is taking zero care. You're being tactless. Let's talk about our homophones. Homophones, they are words that sound the same but are different meanings. So like our patience and our patience. Right here, patience and patience. Look, they sound the same, but they are totally different meanings right here. Now, homonyms is the same spelling, but different meanings. Pronounced the same, but different meanings. So we have homonyms, patient and patient. See how they're exactly spelled the same, they sound the same, they have different meanings. And homophones can be homonyms. Homonyms can be homophones. See how they kind of sit in this area right here. Now, homographs, they spell the same but different meanings and different sounds. So these homonyms and homographs, they can fall in the same area. Like this says wind and wind, or wind and wind, however you're putting it in your sentence, right? So see how that homonyms, they can fit in here also because they have the same spelling, but they're different meanings also. See how it could fit here? Now a homophone, listen how homophone, homo means the same, and phone means sound. So they sound the same, they look different, sound the same. Different meanings. Homonyms look the same, sound the same. So nyms mean names. Same names. Look, they look exactly the same right here, but they have different meanings. But look, homograph, homo means same, graph means what? To write or record. So see how it can fit in your homonyms, but it could also fit in your homographs. I want you to really understand, this can be so confusing. So I want you to really understand. Now, wantonly, remember, it means zero care to understand, and that's what I feel so many of us, we have zero care to understand what this means. But if you're understanding what this means, you're going to be able to understand your words better. All right, that's it, everybody. We'll see you in the next lesson.
And thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next lesson.
Bye everybody.